Confidence is essential in life, but when it turns into arrogance, it becomes dangerous. The man in the story was a skilled and seasoned mountain climber. He had conquered many peaks before, so when he set his sights on a new, more challenging mountain, he didn't hesitate. He believed his past experiences were enough. Blinded by self-assurance, he skipped the basics. No weather check, no plan, no guidance. In his mind, he didn't need help. This moment reveals a common human flaw, the illusion that we are invincible when things have always gone our way. But success in the past doesn't guarantee success in the future. His failure to prepare wasn't just a small oversight, it was the beginning of a silent downfall. Overconfidence can cloud our judgment and make us forget that even the strongest need help sometimes. As the man climbed higher, the world below began to fade, and nature's beauty unfolded before him. The crisp mountain air, the clear sky, and the breathtaking view filled him with a deep sense of wonder. At that moment, he paused, not to check his path, but to appreciate life itself. He closed his eyes and whispered a prayer of thanks for the view, for the journey, for being alive. It was a sacred moment of peace, a quiet recognition that life is a gift. Gratitude came naturally in that stillness, where nothing else mattered but the present. This scene reminds us how easily we overlook the beauty around us when we are focused on achievement. But even in our pursuit of goals, there are moments worth pausing for, moments that fill our hearts and realign our souls. Sometimes the climb isn't just about the summit, but the view along the way. As daylight faded and dark clouds crept across the sky, the mountain's beauty turned into quiet danger. The smart choice would have been to stop, rest, and wait for morning. But the man, driven by pride and determination, kept climbing. He believed his strength and his faith would be enough to carry him through. But real faith is not tested in comfort. It's tested in uncertainty. As fog thickened and night surrounded him, the path vanished before his eyes. He no longer knew which way was up or down, yet he continued forward blindly. In that moment, he wasn't just climbing a mountain, he was walking into the unknown. This part of his journey reflects how many of us react when life becomes unclear. We press on, relying only on ourselves, thinking our past strength is enough. But faith without humility can lead us deeper into darkness, not closer to the light. Then came the moment of crisis. With a single misstep, the man slipped. The ground vanished beneath him, and he fell into the darkness. The wind howled past him, cold and merciless. In those terrifying seconds, as his body dropped through the air, everything became clear. His life flashed before his eyes. His childhood, his dreams, his regrets, his joys. Just when it seemed all was lost, the rope around his waist pulled tight, stopping his fall. Now he hung alone in the blackness, suspended between earth and sky, with no way to see how close or far he was from safety. In desperation, he did what so many of us do when control slips from our hands. He cried out, "Help me, God!" It's in these broken moments, when our strength fails and pride disappears, that the cry of the heart rises. And sometimes, in the stillness of that fear, a voice answers. To the man's astonishment, a voice answered from the sky. Calm, strong, divine. "What do you want me to do?" it asked. Without hesitation, he pleaded, "Please save me." The voice replied, "Do you believe I can save you?" "Yes," he answered with all his heart. "Then do exactly what I tell you," the voice said. What followed was unexpected and terrifying. "Cut the rope tied to your waist." Silence fell. The man froze, paralyzed by fear. That rope, to him, was life itself, the only thing keeping him from certain death. The idea of letting go was too much to bear. And so, despite his claim of faith, he clung tighter to what felt safe. This moment reveals a powerful truth. Saying "we believe" is easy when we're not asked to prove it. But real faith demands more than words. It calls for obedience, even when the command makes no sense. The man remained suspended in the freezing dark, clinging to the rope with all his strength. He waited for another word, another sign, but the voice spoke no more. As the hours passed, the cold crept into his bones. Fear gripped him harder than the mountain itself. By morning, the rescue team found him, lifeless, frozen, his hands still wrapped tightly around the rope. He had died just 3 feet above the ground. Salvation had been within reach, but he could not bring himself to trust completely. His faith had limits, spoken in words but not proven in action. This tragic ending holds a sobering lesson. Fear often disguises itself as caution, but it can also rob us of freedom. We may say we trust God, but if we can't let go when He asks us to, that trust is incomplete. Faith that stays in the mind but not the heart cannot save us. This story leaves us with a powerful truth. Real faith begins where visibility ends. The man claimed to believe, yet when asked to act on that belief blindly, fear overtook him. He couldn't see the ground, so he assumed it wasn't there. But faith is not about seeing the whole path. It's about trusting the one who guides us through it. True belief requires surrender, not just agreement. When we face the unknown, we often cling to what feels secure, even if it's what's holding us back. Faith means trusting God's voice, even when logic resists. It means letting go when He says, "Let go," even if we can't see the safety beneath us. Without God, our view is limited, distorted by fear. But with Him, we gain clarity, courage, and freedom. Sometimes, the greatest leap of faith is not climbing higher, but releasing the rope and trusting what's waiting below. It's easy to speak words of faith, to say, "I believe," "I trust," or "God will provide." But when those words are tested, do our actions follow? The man in the story believed with his lips, but when it came time to act, fear controlled him. His heart wanted to trust, but his hands refused to let go. This contrast exposes a common struggle. We often profess faith, yet live in fear. Real trust shows itself not when everything makes sense, but when nothing does. When we choose obedience even in uncertainty. Faith without action is incomplete. The rope felt like his lifeline, but it became his prison. Likewise, the things we hold on to, our plans, pride, or false security, may be the very things keeping us from God's rescue. Living faith means moving beyond comfort into surrender. It's not about what we say. It's about what we do when belief is put to the test. In life, we often cling to what feels safe, believing it protects us. But sometimes, what we hold on to is actually what traps us. The rope that saved the climber's life also held him captive, preventing him from stepping into true safety. This story challenges us to ask, are we holding on to fears, doubts, or false securities that keep us from freedom? True faith calls us to release control, to trust in something greater than ourselves, even when the path is unclear. Letting go can be terrifying, but it is also the doorway to freedom and transformation. Just like the climber needed to cut the rope to be saved, we too must surrender our fears and trust beyond what we see. Only then can we experience the fullness of life, guided by faith rather than limited by fear.